What is up, college money hustlers? Welcome to another episode with your co-host Dwight Van Dyke
and Elliot Bernard. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode, and thank you for tuning in.
So right before we get started with the episode, as always, please don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, share with your friends, and post to social media. I'll put the Instagram up here again, and that's just the pattern. We got to do this every single time. What do you want to talk about today, Elliot? What is our topic for the day?
This guy always does this. Like, he knows the topic, but you know what? So today it's an interesting topic, not strictly finance, but it's a topic I believe will help a lot of individuals. So we will be talking about working in the U.S. as an international student. Because personally, I was an international student, just graduated from Walsh University, and I am currently still in the same status, and I'm working. So I believe I have a lot to share on that experience, and hopefully help other people to navigate it, because it can be something tiring and it can be complicated.
Yeah, so just a little background for those that don't know and are watching, or maybe just tuning in for the first time and don't really know our background. So I actually went to school in the States. I'm from Toronto, Canada. I studied finance at Walsh University with Elliot. That's actually where we met and where we started this podcast. And it was tough. This is definitely a topic I think more people need to hear about, because as an international student, it is something, probably for me at least, the biggest challenge that I actually faced while I was in university was not being able to necessarily work or just get a part-time job, or make some side cash while I was in school. So
there are definitely a lot of limitations that come to being an international student, and it can be understandable why those limitations are there, because the government wants to make sure that you're coming to the U.S. to actually study, and not just for another purpose. So when you come here, you have different options, but the easiest thing is, while you're studying, is that you can work on campus, and that is the easiest option, because as an international, you are allowed to work off campus, but we'll talk about that later. So if you're a freshman or a sophomore, the best option for you is probably to just get a job on campus. Or if you can prove that you have financial hardships, that, you have to show different financial statements and stuff like that to your school officials, and you can prove that, then they might allow you to work off campus. And when working on campus, there are certain limitations. You can only work 20 hours a week during the school year. So like, if it's Christmas break, then you can work more. If it's like fall break or something like that, you can work more than that. But during the school year, you can only work the 20 hours a week. Then now you have another option, right? So like, when you get to your junior year, you're like more into your course of study. Now you can get an internship. So as an international student, you are allowed to do that. And personally, I did that. And during my junior year. Junior, senior year. Junior, senior year. I did that. So pretty much the regulation for that is that it has to be within your major. So like, Dwight and I, we studied finance. We wouldn't be able to just go work in a restaurant, or I don't know, go work in retail or something like that. It has to be within your major, and it has to be approved by the school, and also it has to be proven that this won't affect your studies. So like, you'll still be able to work and take care of your schoolwork at the same time. So the same things come for this. Like, you are only allowed to work 20 hours a week during the school year. And when you're off for like, Christmas break, fall break, or, spring break, you can work more than that. You can work 40 hours during the week. So like, kind of full time or something like that. So That's a good thing about
if
it.
you were working 40 hours during the school year,
Yeah.
even if you could, I don't know if you would be able to be honest, because you would not be able to go to class or nothing. But
Exactly.
yeah, those are just some few options. That was kind of a lot, to be honest. Like, I was listening to you right there. I was like, damn, like, that's a lot of options. But yeah, if you are an international student, it's extremely important to know the options that you're going into. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I didn't know anything. Like, I didn't know I couldn't even get a job off campus until I was literally on campus. And I was literally like at school, in school. I'm like, all right, I think I should get a job or something. And then like people are telling me, what do you mean get a job? Like, you can't. And I'm like, huh? And like, you know, that was news to me, and I'm sure a lot of other people are in that situation. You know, when you're a student, an international student, the government essentially just wants you to be a student. Like,
pretty much.
They don't want you coming to their country under the guise of a student, but you're really just, you know, you're just working. You know, that's not really the whole purpose of the I-20 or the visa that students get. This is for the States specifically. I'm not too sure with other countries. So we are talking about just the States right now. Just in case it isn't really transferable to other countries.
Yeah, that's true. Because, I mean, this pertains to the United States. I'm not sure what different countries may have different regulations. But, so pretty much once you have your CPT, that makes it easy. But the biggest thing now is you have to land an internship, right? That can be hard. It can be hard, trust me, because many times internships, they want someone that they can hire afterward and that can commit to the position. So it can be a little tough for international students to do that. And you can look at your schools, and sometimes, for example, my school, they had within their accounting department, they had an internship position. And, you know, other places in the school, like marketing, they might have position like that. It might not pay as much as an outside job, but it gets it done at that point. And at least you're getting paid more than minimum wage is what I'm hoping. So those are your options. And my biggest tip when it comes to being an international student is get good grades. I know, right? Everyone should get good grades. But as an international student, I'm going to say you essentially need to get good grades. Like, I know
I can't stress that enough. I can't stress, because everybody, literally even my friends and stuff, were just saying like C's get degrees. Although that is true, when you're an international student, you face so many different challenges and hardships that, you know, domestic students don't face, you know, especially after you graduate. And we're about to hop into that topic. And if you do want to stay in the States or wherever the country is that you're going to school, and maybe that's not your home country, but you're going to stay there after, those grades are, grades and extracurriculars that actually pertain to your degree. Oh my days. They will change your life for the better. And, you know, I really do want to hop into this. So if you want to kind of take the
that's
forward on this one,
that is so big. Because personally, I made sure like I participated in that kind of stuff, mostly, you know, to boost my resume. And I made sure grades were the forefront, because essentially the logic is you don't want to give the person another reason not to hire you. The fact that you're already international. You know what I'm saying? Right, so like,
that's a gem.
So, you know, make it easy for them to already like you for the first part. So grades are massively important. Like, I can't stress that much, but it's extremely important for an international student. Domestic student, it's also important, but for you as an international, it's more important. So, you know, once you're done with your CPT, you know, maybe you graduate. Now you have the option for the OPT, which is optional practical training. This is something that you have to like apply for. So you want to do that probably like, honestly, they say 90 days. So 3 months before your graduation date. For example, I was graduating in April, and I did it, I applied for it in January. Actually February, but I should have done it in January because I kind of came close to when I needed it to work and stuff like that. So that's a big one. Exactly, right? Don't procrastinate on it. And you got to pay for it. I think it's like $400. So remember that. It's not free. But essentially, this gives you the option to work for any employer within the US as long as it's within your major. And that can be for either 1 year or you can have an extension of 2 years. But the 2-year extension, 2 year adding on that 1 year which makes 2. So, but that's only if you're in a STEM program. For example, I only get 1 year because my program wasn't STEM. But if I went to like something like computer science, I'll get 1 year and the option to add another year onto that. So that's something to consider in your choosing of majors also. And after your OPT now, when OPT expires within that 1 year or 2 years, you have you have a couple options. So you either return to your home country, right? Or if you're considering staying,
which is what I did.
Yeah, which is what Dwight did. He returned to his home country. My OPT is still on, but your other option is you go back to get, I don't know, your master's or something like that for more education, or
a grad program.
Yeah, a grad program essentially, or you just you get sponsored by your employer, which is extremely difficult to do because they have to pay fees and stuff like that. So employers don't really want to be in a position to have to sponsor you unless you're in an extremely specialized field, I don't know, but something extremely specialized that they can't really get because they just don't want to have to pay, because it can be up to like $10,000 around then, and you can't pay it for yourself. So that's the gist with that.
So I have a question then. So
yeah,
you obviously graduated finance, and you have a job as a financial analyst for a hospital. So that, as you know, is not a very specialized field. They could technically just hire somebody else instead of paying the extra $10,000 to sponsor you or something. So what do you think that an international student such as yourself should do to more specialize? Because I do understand that you are trying to get your certificate right now, or a specialization right now. So if you want to go over that for the people.
Yeah, so like for sure my field is not specialized, so you want to put yourself in a position of success to be more, so like when someone looks at your resume, it's more like it pops, you know. So like you may pursue additional certification, like I'm studying for like a certified managerial accounting exam or something like that. Or as I say, getting your master's, because first of all, getting sponsored, there's a certain bracket in terms of salary range, I believe. So it can be extremely complicated to do that. So that's why mostly it's in a specialized field that it can be done, because those salaries are usually much higher. And, I will say, like, being able to even land a job was extremely difficult as an international. I started applying since I graduated in 2020, April 2020. I started applying since December of 2019, right? Yep. And
I'm a witness for this, to be honest.
None of those really panned out. I would have a lot of calls, they like my resume. But at the end, when it comes to saying, yes, I'm international, and they don't believe that you can commit to the position because you're international, they want to sponsor and that kind of stuff, it can be extremely challenging. My first thing that I will say about that, though, is on the first interview, get the interviewer to like you. Like, it sounds weird, but get them to fall in love with you, kind of. Because, and then get to the second interview, you have to be honest. You have to say that you're international, because you obviously don't want to surprise them that, oh, hey, yeah, I'm international on the first day, because they'll have to find out either way. So it's still important to be honest. But personally, I'd never said it on the first interview, because sometimes they just don't even listen to the rest of your story, because one check of the box, then it's done. So, the first interview...
it's pretty much a door slammed in your
face. Exactly. Because I had some position, man. I literally applied for it. And then I said I'm international. 30 seconds later, I got a rejection letter. Like, what? I was like, okay, I see how it is. So, I changed the strategy. I changed my resume and stuff like that. So that's the first thing. Like, good grades are definitely important because a lot of interviewers ask me, "Oh, I see you got this good of a GPA. How did you do that?" So it definitely matters, right? Kind of. I mean, GPA is not the culmination of who you are, but
yeah. Not even to mention the fact that a lot of internships and job positions actually do have a minimum required
yeah,
GPA.
that's true. Yeah.
So if you're ending in a resume and maybe you have your GPA on the resume and you have a 3.1 and maybe the job's minimum requirement for the GPA is 3.3, you are literally automatically off the list. They won't even, continue with your interview because you don't meet that minimum GPA requirement, especially for maybe jobs that are at bigger companies or more prestigious, say, companies.
Yeah.
So I mean, that alone is just a reason to try and shoot for the highest GPA you could possibly achieve.
Yeah, big time. So like those are extremely important. And I would like to add also, if make sure you have future plans for yourself. Like don't say that, yes, I expect you to sponsor me. Like I never said that. I always said, yeah, I have my future plans. I plan on getting my master's and stuff like that. Just to show that, I have my own plan, that I'm not relying on them to be able to, I guess, stay in the country, you could say, or whatever. But, make sure you have your own plan to kind of back up that you're not just getting this job just to be sponsored. And look at positions that are specialized. Yeah. For example, when I did my internship, I did something that required an individual that spoke Spanish and French. So that was something extremely specialized that they couldn't find as much, which obviously I can do fluently, which puts me in a position of success. So those are extremely important, and network is also very important. That helped me open many doors that I did not expect. So, you never know who you might meet, so always make a good impression. Like someone told me, "Oh yeah, the CEO was talking about you now that we hired you and stuff like that." And I'm like, I don't even know this guy. I guess he heard about me through Wall. So make a good impression no matter what. And that's pretty much all there is to it. And don't get discouraged even if you get that many rejection. Because you're international. Remember, you can't change that. That's who you are. So if they don't want you because of who you are, then screw that. Just always do your best going forward. Always do your best.
And last thing, I kind of want to add something is, do not get discouraged just because, you have an interview and they don't pick you. I heard on another podcast that just because you may like a job and you're interviewing for the job and you don't get it, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not qualified to get that job. Maybe it just wasn't the right fit, Facts. You don't know as much as the person that is interviewing you. So if that person doesn't believe that you are truly not maybe the best fit for this job, maybe you're just not the best fit for the job. Maybe you would be miserable here. I had an internship or interview for an internship at her university in Toledo, and the person emailed me back saying, they literally said, like, this is a number crunching position essentially, and you are way too creative, and you just you're not the right fit.
Yeah, I remember that.
There's no way. Yeah, exactly. They're like, there's no way you would want this job, so we're not gonna go through with you. And at the time, I'm like, what? I want the job.
I don't care. I just want the damn job.
I don't care. I just want the damn internship. Like, I need this thing to graduate. Like,
at
the time, like I was stressing. But looking back at it, I'm like, maybe I would have literally been miserable at that position, like spending 20 plus hours a week there. Maybe I just would have been a terrible fit. Like that's a large part of my life that I would have been dedicated to this position. So, now in hindsight, obviously, 2020 hindsight, everybody's got 2020. But looking back, I'm like, wow, like I was tripping for nothing. Like everything worked out in the end, and I should have just, understood that they knew best. They probably knew that I wouldn't have fit the job.
Yeah, that may be true. But anyway, that's all I have for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below, and we'll try to answer them. But yeah, so yeah, hopefully you find this video very insightful and it helps you through your career and navigating this tricky stuff.